Hey ladies and gentlemen, you're here with Lawrence again. Thanks for joining me. I'm calling you from the heart of Europe, here in Brussels, Belgium. And what a pleasure it is. I'm sitting in the park. This is really common. A lot of people do this in Europe, and there's a nice little dam behind me, and the King's Palace is just there, which is quite cool. They still have a king here. And my broadcast today is around stepping out of fear and into action, because there's so many things that all of us want to do. There's so many adventures that we want to do. There's so many people we want to meet. There's so many things we want to achieve. But the thing that holds us back is the fear. And I want to give you 2 tips today, 2 questions that you need to ask yourself to conquer the fear. And that first question is, what's the worst that could go wrong? Like, what's the ultimate worst case scenario? Paint that picture. Because I think 1, you're going to realize it's not as bad as you thought. And 2, you're going to realize that no matter how bad it gets, you can always find a solution, a way around it, a way to get back from the worst case scenario. So if you know what the worst case is, and you can deal with what the worst case scenario is, you got nothing to fear. And the second question, probably the most important question, more important question is, what could go right? So many people are stuck in the what could go wrong, and the fear and the doubt and the seriousness of the pain that they could feel, but they forget about the pleasure that they could feel. They forget about what could go right. They forget about the joy that could come from taking that step and doing the thing they've always been wanting to do. And you know, I always do these videos because 1, I'm trying to share my opinion on things, but 2, I'm also trying to deal with the challenges in my own life. And the challenge that I'm going through right now is the biggest decision I've had to make so far, which is, you know, do I start to travel a little bit more? Do I maybe relocate to Europe for 6 months? Or do I go to Argentina for 6 months and learn how to tango? Or do I relocate to Moscow in Russia? And I think I'm in quite a privileged position in that my business is online, that I can do it, but that decision to actually step out of my comfort zone at home in South Africa scares me. And I've had to go through this, ask these 2 questions. The first one, what's the worst that could happen? You know, the worst that could happen is that my business goes down, and then I go broke in Europe, and then I have to sleep 1 or 2 nights in the park, and I have to, you know, bow down and beg my parents for a plane ticket back home, and I try and find a new job in South Africa. That's like the absolute worst case scenario. And is that something that I can deal with? Well, it's not great, but I can deal with that. The second question, and the most important question, is what could go right? Well, the fact is, I could learn to meet new people. I could learn new cultures. I could understand and taste different foods. I could learn new languages. I could learn new skills. Perhaps my business can become a global business instead of just a local business. Perhaps I can connect with somebody. Maybe I'll find my soulmate traveling, because I'll be finding myself in the place that I'm happiest, which is traveling. I might find the person who's also happiest traveling, and we'll be able to share that experience together. What could go right? I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong that it's worth the risk of the 1 or 2 things that could go wrong. So yeah, as I said, I'm always dealing with my own stuff as I share my thoughts, and I'm sure that there's something that you're going through that you've been wanting to do, but you're fearing what could go wrong. I'm asking you to also ask the question, what could go right? And isn't the reward of what could go right worth the risk of what could go wrong? I hope that you make the right decision, you step out of fear and you step into action, and keep on changing the game. And the growth mindset is basically just having 1 extra word in your vocabulary, and that word is yet. If you can add that to every single sentence where you say you're not good enough, I'm not good at piano yet, I'm not good at running.